The economy is expected to grow modestly, even as inflation comes down. This is good news, but is not job done.
The governor of the Bank of Canada just came out and said that they will be keeping the overnight interest rate at the exact same 4.5% it's been at since January. This was a largely expected move by most market participants, so no surprises there. The really interesting part will be to see what the numbers for the March inflation statistics will be that come out on Tuesday. Specifically, we've reached peak inflation in Canada at 8.1% back in June of 2022. Again, the latest numbers that we currently have are the February numbers, which at that point in time, the CPI was at 5.2%. Why should you care? Why does this matter, really? Well, again, the target rate for the Bank of Canada is between 1% and 3%, is that this little gray bar that you see here. And obviously we are twice as high, roughly, compared to where we're supposed to be. So if those inflation numbers that come in on Tuesday will be lower, this will further increase the likelihood that the Bank of Canada will maintain its rate where it's at right now, and that should definitely help with home affordability for people that were looking at having to renew at even higher rates going forward. Now, that being said, it's not all sunshine and rainbows just yet. Most experts, most economists are forecasting various corrections. So, for instance, Desjardins and TD, they're forecasting at between 10 and 15% corrections. As I've seen even some estimates of roughly 25% corrections. Now, RBC here, they're looking at forecasts for both 2023 and 2024. Now, this minus 17.2%, this here is specifically looking at home resale forecast for a number of units, basically. So this is a drop in sales in 2023 and then an increase in sales in 2024. Now, if you're looking at prices specifically Canada-wide, they're forecasting a price drop of 11.7% across Canada in 2023, and then a rebound of 2.2% in 2024. Now, all of these statistics are interesting in the grand scheme of things, but what really, really matters when it comes to real estate is that old adage, which basically says location, location, location. So really do your research, look at your own local areas, and make sure that you're not over-indebting yourself if it's something that you cannot necessarily afford currently. Also, next week, the CREA will be coming out with their March numbers. Right now, the latest available ones are the February ones. So you can see here, year over year, February, we've seen a decline of 18.9% Canada-wide, according to the CREA. Now, keep in mind, this is Canada-wide. So this is what I'm saying. Like, it really depends on where you're actually interested in buying something. Let's say you're just you want to buy something in Brandon, Manitoba over here. Notice that they actually saw a 1.2% increase instead of a 18.9% decrease year over year. So there's a 20% difference between these two numbers. Always research your local market. Make sure that you don't over-indebt yourself, and make sure that you give yourself an extra buffer of, let's say, 20% or thereabouts, just in case interest rates might have to go back up again just slightly, as the governor pointed out.
If monetary policy is not restrictive enough to get us all the way back to the 2% target, we are prepared to raise the policy rate further to get there.
Time will tell, but at the end of the day, as long as prices start stabilizing somewhat and inflation declines, and then eventually people's wages also stop increasing at the rate they have been increasing, the economy should be okay in the long term.
It may be necessary for interest rates to stay elevated for longer to get that job done.
Just in case, interest rates will have to go back up again, provided that inflation remains stubbornly high for the foreseeable future. So again, this is why it'll be very interesting to see what the numbers for Tuesday will be. So housing market collapse averted. Again, too early to say. I just wanted to put this out there in case you see some people that get overly excited over the fact that the Bank of Canada retained rates where they are. Again, this was the largely expected outcome, not something that was surprising.